At an age when most people have already retired and left their working lives behind, Bunny Levine was still chasing auditions, walking onto film sets, and doing what she had dreamed of doing for most of her life. Hollywood is full of stories about child stars and overnight sensations, but Bunny Levine's story was something very different. She spent decades living an ordinary life, raising a family and working as a school librarian before finally pursuing the dream she had carried since childhood. And incredibly, that decision led her to become a familiar face in some of the biggest television shows and films of the last several decades. Audiences may have seen her in Gilmore Girls, Law and Order, Everybody Loves Raymond, Ugly Betty, Criminal Minds, Shameless, La La Land, and films starring Adam Sandler without necessarily knowing her name. But Bunny Levine became one of those character actors whose face could instantly feel familiar. Her journey was also shaped by love, family, loss, and the determination to keep moving forward after devastating changes in her personal life. And at the very end of this video, we will look at Bunny Levine's final days and the reported cause of her death at the age of 97. Before we continue, if you enjoy stories about the lives behind Hollywood's familiar faces, please subscribe and turn on notifications. We tell the stories that often go far beyond the fame. Bunny Levine was born Bunny Levine on December 22, 1928, in New Jersey. Long before cameras, auditions, and Hollywood sets became part of her life, she had already developed a fascination with performing. According to accounts of her life and career, the desire to entertain had been there from an early age. But dreams and reality do not always move at the same speed. Like many women of her generation, Bunny built a life around family and a dependable profession. She pursued higher education, earning master's degrees from New York University and Columbia University. She went on to work as a school librarian and teacher in Teaneck, New Jersey, a career that lasted for more than 2 decades. For years, Hollywood was not her everyday world. She was raising children. She was working. She had responsibilities. The dream of acting remained somewhere in the background, but it never completely disappeared. Bunny Levine's story is remarkable because she did not simply decide to act after a lifetime of fame. She had no decades-long celebrity career behind her when she made the leap. Instead, she was beginning again at an age when many people would have believed it was too late. After taking early retirement in the 1980s, Bunny finally began seriously pursuing acting. It was a risk. Hollywood can be brutally difficult even for young performers with agents, connections, and years of training. Bunny was entering an industry obsessed with youth while she was already well into adulthood. But she had something that could not be manufactured: persistence. She took classes, went to auditions, and slowly began finding opportunities. Her professional screen career began in the late 1980s, including a role in the 1988 horror comedy Slime City. More opportunities followed, including an appearance in the 1990 film Cadillac Man. Then something extraordinary happened. Bunny Levine kept getting work. She became a prolific character actress, appearing in productions across television and film. Over time, her credits included Law and Order, Everybody Loves Raymond, Gilmore Girls, Ugly Betty, Criminal Minds, Two Broke Girls, New Girl, The Mindy Project, Shameless, and many more. She also appeared in major films, including You Don't Mess with the Zohan, Sandy Wexler, and the Oscar-winning musical La La Land. For many viewers, Bunny was not necessarily the person whose name appeared at the top of the poster. But character actors like her are often the people who make fictional worlds feel real. She could walk into a scene, deliver a memorable moment, and leave an impression. And the most inspiring part was that she refused to let age define the limits of her ambition. Her career continued into her 90s. While many performers spend their later years looking back on their accomplishments, Bunny Levine was still looking ahead. Reports after her death noted that she was still auditioning and working remarkably late in life. Her final credits extended into 2026. But Bunny's life was not only about her acting career. Behind the scenes, she had a family life that came before Hollywood. She was married to Bernard, known as Bunny Levine, and together they had 3 children. Their marriage was an important part of the life Bunny built long before she became a familiar face on screen. The couple also shared an interest in helping performers. In 1991, Bunny and Bernie co-founded Actors Connection in New York, an organization created to help aspiring actors connect with people working in the entertainment industry. The project reflected Bunny's own journey. She knew what it meant to enter the business later in life and to search for opportunities in an industry that could feel impossible to break into. For Bunny, acting was no longer simply a private dream. It had become a second life. But then came one of the most difficult chapters of her personal story. Her husband, Bernie, became seriously ill with pancreatic cancer. His illness changed the family's life, and Bunny later spoke about how difficult it was after losing him. Bunny Levine died in 2003. After his death, Bunny faced the painful reality of widowhood. For some people, a loss like that can make life feel as if it has stopped. But Bunny eventually made a major decision. She moved to Los Angeles and continued pursuing her acting career. In many ways, that move became another reinvention. Acting gave her a reason to keep moving. It gave her a purpose and a community. She continued to work, audition, and build a career that would last for decades. Bunny Levine's love life was largely kept private. She was not known for public Hollywood romances or celebrity scandals. The most important relationship publicly associated with her life was her long marriage to Bernie and the family they built together. That privacy makes her story unusual in an industry where personal relationships often become headlines. For Bunny, fame never appeared to be the main point. The work was, and perhaps that was why her career lasted as long as it did. As the years passed, Bunny continued appearing in productions that introduced her to entirely new generations of viewers. Someone might recognize her from Gilmore Girls. Someone else might remember her from Everybody Loves Raymond. A younger audience might know her from Jury Duty or Thelma. That is the strange and beautiful thing about a long character acting career. The actor may not always become the biggest star in the room, but their work continues finding new audiences. Bunny Levine also proved something important about age and ambition. There is a common belief that life follows a strict timetable. Study when you are young. Build a career in your 20s. Achieve success by middle age. Then retire. Bunny's life ignored that timetable. She spent decades in one profession before finding success in another. Her first major professional chapter was education. Her second became Hollywood. And she did not begin that second chapter until an age when many people would have assumed the opportunity had passed. Her illness history is also worth addressing carefully because there appears to be no widely reported long-term illness that defined the final years of her life. Her husband Bernie had battled pancreatic cancer before his death, but that should not be confused with Bunny's own health. In fact, reports surrounding Bunny Levine's final period of life emphasized how active she remained. She continued to audition and work, even in her 90s. Then, in August 2026, news emerged that Bunny Levine had died at the age of 97. The news was especially striking because she had remained professionally active almost until the end of her life. According to reports, Bunny died on August 20, 2026, at her home in Tarzana, California. Her representative confirmed that she had passed away peacefully in her sleep. Authorities reportedly said that her death appeared to have been from natural causes. No specific illness was publicly identified as the cause of her death. She was 97 years old. Bunny Levine left behind her 3 children and grandchildren, as well as an extraordinary collection of screen performances. But perhaps her greatest legacy is not a single role. It is the lesson contained in her entire life. She waited. She worked. She raised a family. She experienced love and loss. And after decades spent doing something completely different, she finally gave herself permission to chase the dream that had been waiting for her. Then she kept going. Bunny Levine's story reminds us that a career can begin again. A dream can survive for decades. And sometimes, the chapter that seems to come late in life can become the one people remember most. She did not become a Hollywood star because she started young. She became memorable because she refused to believe that starting late meant she should not start at all. Rest in peace, Bunny Levine. And if you enjoyed this story and want more deep dives into the lives, careers, relationships, and final chapters of Hollywood's most fascinating stars, please subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue telling these stories.